Hi again. I'm back with a new video on my 3-bit rail selector. But before I go on, I just want to say, if you're looking for a fast and easy minecart station, this is not it. I just use this for style points because I think it looks cool. If you want a fast and easy minecart system, check out the carts system. But having said that, this is the 3-bit minecart station that is piston powered. You may have seen one of my previous videos where I covered the 3-bit analog to digital converter. I originally designed this in order to power the pistons that comprise the bits of this rail selector. So each one of these piston pairs, there's the last one. These represent a bit in the number. And depending on whether the bit is on or off determines whether a minecart going down this input rail goes either to the left or the right fork in the path. So we can demonstrate this switching by just activating one of these pistons. You can see that the direction the cart will go changes depending on whether the left or the right piston is pushed, and so that represents either the bit being on or off. And so you can see that this bit controls one fork, this bit controls 2 forks, this bit controls 4 forks, giving you a total of 8 selectable destinations. Now I previously had mentioned that the ADC is non-ordinal, meaning it encodes the values 0 through 7, but not in that order. The same applies to this, and I can demonstrate that by just sending a cart down each one of the rails that are selected. It starts off with 0, then when I make one selection on the frame, it changes to track number 6. So I did not mean to get in. And then track number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Track number 7. Track number 2. Track number 3. Track number 1. And finally, track number 5. And then we return back to track 0. So I can cover how this works under the hood, but I just briefly want to draw your attention to this observer block that is hooked up to the first block coming out of the comparator. That's just there so that this sends out a pulse every time a selection is made on the item frame, and more on why in a little bit. But first we'll hop down here. These wires coming out of the wall represent the 3 bits. Since we're encoding a 0 currently, they're all off. But let's say they turned on. This torch would turn off, and this repeater would be powered, which would then turn this piston on, moving a solid block under this column here. That would allow it to be powered by this activation line. This activation line is what's actually hooked up to the observer block, which we might be able to see. No, well anyway, it's up there. And the signal comes down here. It activates any piston that has a solid block under it. And the piston that has a solid block under it is determined by which bit is active. The activation line gets powered, and it activates one of those pistons for each bit in the system, which pushes a redstone block up through the ceiling and activating a piston that ends up pushing the rail. So that's about it as far as that goes. One quick little caveat with this design in particular. Oh, hello. This guy again. Yeah. This design is not spam proof because of this observer block being part of the activation line. If you want a spam-proof version of this, get rid of this and put your activation line under your button that propels the player. So in that way, there's a little bit of delay between the player making a selection on the item frame, then coming over here and then powering themselves down the rail. This gives the system time to move solid blocks under those columns, and that way there won't be any intermediate values left over in the system, causing the player to go down the rail that they had not selected. Thank you. That's about it. Thanks for watching.